Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Associated Guest. I, as always, am your host, Alpha Animus, here at the Bear in Mind channel. And today, we're going to get into some shit going down in New York. The Mamdani mind virus is spreading. They have declared New York a communist state, or at least the city of New York City. And then it's going to get lighter from then on out. We're going to get into One Piece, the remake trailer dropped. We're going to watch that a little bit. Side-by-side comparison, unless this dude's talking too much. And then we're just going to watch the thing, because that's 8 minutes and this is 1 minute. And then SuperGirl has released, and it sucks. It's awful, apparently. Yeah, we'll get a little further into that in a moment. Let's get into this.
We just tired of this the left. You go, how
Yes.
can Islamists be allies with LGBT? It's Marxism. It's Marxism. They just view the world, and certainly politics, through oppressor and oppressed. Whoever is more successful, whoever is better at their endeavor, they are automatically the bad guy. You grant the moral high ground to the minority, to the oppressed, to the unsuccessful, even if they are a criminal. For more proof, see ICE not deporting violent felons. It is Marxism. And Islam, socialists, they make good bedfellows because they both view the world through Marxism. So we'll start off with Islam in these elections. It's scary. And then get to the communists winning in New York City. But I will tell you, it's not anything new, contrary to what folks have told you. So first, because it's fun, look at this picture of Hamtramck city officials visiting the White House in the 1970s. Hamtramck was entirely Polish. Remember when it was 90% Polish in the 70s? Remember when that was the group of people we made fun of?
The Polacks?
Yeah. White people with the same IQ who were largely Christian and law-abiding. We're like, damn Polacks. And they're like, well, imagine if people were like, hey, how many Polacks does it take to screw in a light bulb? Well, 19 to have child brides and rape the native population mercilessly. You'd be like, that doesn't sound like Polacks. Nah, it's Islam. I want you to look at Hamtramck City Council today. Here you go. This is, yeah. Now it's 70% Muslim. Wow.
What the fuck?
Which do you prefer?
How does that happen?
Yeah, you know how it happens, and we'll get to how it starts. But here's what that city
Strategic
council
drops.
looked like in action. This clip went viral.
Strategic
but we have a new clip
drops
that
is the
came out
answer.
today. Here's the city council of Hamtramck.
We are in recess, Mr. Hassan. Calm down. You are a professional.
You don't tell me to calm down, damn right.
Look at your Facebook, how you represent yourself at Ford. Represent the city the same way. You are
Hey, excuse me, you do not tell me damn right.
Hold on, guys.
Hold on.
Hold on, everybody, please.
Are we allowed to speak? Are we allowed to speak?
Hold on, guys. We're in violation of law.
No, we are not. We are Islam too.
You need to go back on the record and follow the law.
I don't know what a record is.
Anyway, I'm sorry. I think that is the newer clip. I think the one that you have seen.
The only Muslim in my family.
Shit, I didn't mean to do that. Sorry.
Anyway, I'm sorry. I think that
It's
is the
this
newer
damn new mouse.
I think the one that you have seen, that was June 9th, but they just released it recently. So it's filmed June 9th. Here's another one, just to give you more context.
I can do the same thing every council meeting. I can, and I can make the decision. You can do everyone. Yeah, I'm making. I don't know. No. I don't know. This is the way the practice.
I'm speaking.
No.
Excuse me.
Obey my beard.
Enough of your behavior. Your behavior is very bad. Okay?
Your daughter, she came and she kicked my dog. She kicked it.
You are my father to censor like outside business. Are you my parenting?
Are you my parenting?
You are my father.
Are you my childlessness?
What do you mean? No, it's a question. Are you my parenting? Because he's my brother.
What are you
too.
talking
I
about?
understand
This is horrible.
My daddy.
Bangs his flipper on the table.
Who's your diaper
You
daddy?
are
Who's your
my
diaper daddy?
Oh wait, that's right. You are my daddy / uncle.
And also somehow my
Based on
mother.
reality. Again, just talking about 198 million Muslims who support violence against infidels, against civilians worldwide. You also need to look at the reality as far as any Islamic nation where they are a majority, where you have Islamic law. Close to 50% of the population are the result of some form of incest in many of these countries. On the low end, 30.
In some places, 70 plus.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Pakistan and Somalia.
Yes,
it's
it's
most
really
marriages.
bad.
I would love to hear the Marxist leftists here who say, hey, love is love. Make the argument against cousin marriage and incest. Make the
To be fair,
moral
have you seen
argument
my
against
cousin?
it. You can't. It can't be done. So this brings us to the
She
rest
looks
of the
like
country.
Ganesha.
Now,
Have you ever
New
been-
York is vying for top spot. To
Have you
rival
ever been
Michigan as far as,
masturbating?
an entirely
Been masturbated
Islamic
by a six-armed
city
goddess? I
council.
do not know if
They
that
just
is
had,
Ganesha,
two,
but my goodness.
Muslims win their Democratic primaries. Let's go through these two, and then we'll get to what has also happened, the more notable ones endorsed by Mamdani. First one was Avila Chevalier explained that she reverted to Islam out of social justice, and she is actually, I believe, she'd be representing New York District 13. Here she is, converted to Islam, social justice.
I know that we all deserve a representative who isn't bought by AIPAC. I'm also the
I
only
agree with
Muslim
that part.
in my family. I reverted 3 years ago. Actually, the friend who pushed me to do it asked me, why have you fasted for 4 years and yet you haven't taken your shahada? She's here today, and when she asked me that, I thought that is a great
Oh my God! And it's just bananas and rice. You know, this is what we are together. We go together like bananas and rice. And you don't think that it's something that goes together, bananas and rice. But just wait, you'll see. You'll see. I'll show you the way.
Great question.
That's
Seeing
the
how
vibes I'm
my
getting off
friends
this
who were
girl.
showing up to organizing, who are Muslim, were showing up in the space, and the grace and love and passion that they had in these spaces
Can't
of
beat 'em,
social
join 'em.
justice, that really pushed me to join the faith.
When I think Islam, I think social justice.
And peace and love.
She
That's-
once posted
those are
this
not
on
words
X.
that go
She wrote,
together.
I forgot to get napkins, so I just wiped my hand on the American flag behind me.
What a piece of shit.
Yep.
Yeah, no kidding.
Deport. People saying you have the right. Sure. Where are all those people saying you have the freedom of speech, not freedom from consequences? How about if you deliberately desecrate the flag and brag about it, you can't be in our representative government.
Yes.
Because you have no business representing a country you hate.
Yeah.
That's
100%.
reasonable, isn't it? Commentable? I think that's reasonable. She also declared her hate for dudes dating white chicks, so racist. She wrote, black men, Arab men fetishizing ugly colonizer women.
She says that while looking like that
Oh,
with a
have
straight
I have
face.
News for her.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh my God! You know, just rub your face in bananas and
That's
rice.
the real I mean, if you're going to make the argument, you could say infidel or something, but to argue that
They're ugly.
westernized American women are uglier than Arab women,
Or that they're colonizers.
yeah. She's a racist. She's a racist. She's
Eating
a
bananas
racial
and rice all the
supremacist.
time
She is
causes
awful, and
beauty.
she
It's the number
hates
one
this
source of
country.
beauty
We have
according
someone
to
else as well,
retards.
Aber Aberkawas would be New York State Senate District 12. This is someone who wants to represent the American people. She wants to be in the government of the United States of America, even though she once said that 9/11 was a manifestation of American capitalism and white supremacy.
And so, and finding that, the system of capitalism and racism and white supremacy, etc., have
Just
all,
throwing out
and
buzzwords.
Islamophobia have all been used,
another one.
To colonize lands, right, to take resources from other people. And so this is like a long trajectory.
We're
And
America.
just
We
seeing
don't
the
have to take resources
manifestations
from
of
other
that
people.
Continuation, right, with 9/11. And so a lot of times when people are asking us to respond about,
This sounds like that chick that I always reference. Good morning, shapeshifter. The one that ran. She was like Miss America. They were saying, well, why can't people locate such and such on a map? And she's like, I think the reason we can't locate is because a lot of people don't have maps, and such as the Middle East and South America. Yay, God.
Attack, right? If you look back, historically, right, a lot of us come from lands that were colonized, lands where wars are being waged, right? A lot of
Name
times
them.
because of U.S. policy or the policies in Europe. And so I find that we can connect over that, but then also that the idea that we have to apologize for a terror attack that a couple of people did, and then there is no apologies or reparations for genocides and for slavery, etc., is something that I kind of find reprehensible.
Your people still practice
this one.
slavery. More slaves on earth than ever in recorded history. Huge portion of them in the Arab North.
Remember,
Recent polls have
remember
shown
this?
a fifth of Americans can't locate the U.S. on a world map. Why do you think this is?
I personally believe that U.S. Americans
US
are
Americans.
unable to do so because some people out there in our nation don't have maps, and I believe that our education, like such as in South Africa and the Iraq, everywhere like such.
Oh my God, that's so painful. Okay, anyway, sorry.
African world.
That's basically what I heard when this other bitch was talking. Just word I heard, word I heard, word I heard. No real points.
Also, aren't we just tired of this? You hear it from the Marxist right too. It's like, you know, if we weren't there, none of these people would hate us. Islam is actually great. Great. Now do every other century since Islam's existence. Also, why do the Ottomans, the Turks, why do the Arabs get a pass for colonizing?
They were more prolific in the Middle East than anybody doing that.
Yes. Oh, no, we're just supposed to believe that Vlad started impaling for shits and giggles? Like, you guys have no historical context? Let's just call it a wash. Let's assume your premise is true. Colonizing. Okay, great. You guys still have slaves, and you kind of did a lot of colonizing. I wouldn't say colonizing so much as conquering and subjugating. But you want to judge the United... So let me get this straight. In her mind, someone from Syria, Yemen, Iraq, Iran is fleeing there because of the United States colonizing, and we owe reparations to the nations that still practice indentured servitude and, by the way, also colonized and conquered for far longer.
Jeez.
And they're fleeing their colonizers to go to their colonizer.
Right.
It's true, and just to buttress your point on slavery, here's a slave market currently in Libya.
Ah!
Oh, they
It's
got
5 stars.
They got lighting.
Must be good.
It's just a Craigslist for slaves.
Yeah. Need a slave?
She also, but you'd say, okay, Islam, slavery, archaic value system. But how does she reconcile that with promoting her campaign at a drag show that was DJ'd by Bradley/Chelsea Manning? Yes.
I think it's time we hit the doors. Get your pop cards, get your lit, and you can join us here on Wednesday.
Is that Chelsea Manning?
At Frida, where we'll have Democratic Socialists for a Beer, featuring drag shows, DJ Chelsea Manning.
Oh, that's Chelsea Manning.
She's so excited.
Let me make this really simple. Drag shows to promote this campaign at a bar. Okay, Islam achieves a majority in this country. Just compare it to any place in the world where they've achieved a minority. You think you have drag shows? Do you think you have bars? Do you think you have beer? So how does this make sense? It doesn't. It's Marxism. The LGBTQ, it's valuable through the lens of Marxism because we can use them to overthrow our oppressors. Let's just call them colonizers. Understand the enemy that you are facing. Yeah. Don't try to make sense of it outside of the paradigm of Marxism. That's what these people are. And here's the thing. There's always someone looking to make a quick buck, no matter what the politics are. Local franchises in New York, they're already getting ahead of the curve with their marketing campaigns. Have it your way.
What the fuck?
Have it my way.
No, I mean order's ready.
That's right.
To pick out. That's it.
Yeah.
Just don't get afraid.
Hold the pickles, I'll behead you. McDonald's following suit, not to be outdone by Burger King, let's be honest.
Don't you fear you will be dead soon.
They're not just changing their name.
Hey, good morning, Yanuka. Oh, I am loving it. So very good. Very, very good.
Little Caesars went all in by changing their, obviously their famous slogan from Pizza Pizza to Kill the Jews.
What the fuck?
No, they're hot and ready.
That just seems hateful.
Yeah.
Kind of lingered on that for a long fucking time.
Romans who are known for killing Jews to something worse.
And
I mean, that is true. That is what the Romans are known for.
And you say kill the Jews 3 times, kids eat free.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Ah.
Yeah, and you can choose between crazy bread or crazy behead.
There you go.
So that's fun.
Right. That's right. I can't get enough. That's what does me in is I fill up on crazy behead.
Put this one back in the oven.
Oh my God! No!
Oh my God, Gerald.
Oh my gosh! We have a nice little cartoon with a beard and a turban. Kill the Jews.
It was
rocket
fun,
launcher.
family friendly.
It's funny. And then you're
My
just
God,
like,
brick oven.
No, I think sometimes underdone pizza's bad.
No, right. Just stop.
Yeah, don't say you want them well done.
Yeah, it's enough. It's enough.
hit with the pro-Palestinians. I don't understand how people can be pro something that doesn't technically exist.
So stupid.
We'll just hit refresh. And then you can
By the way, you've been
So,
very
how do these
active
people get into
on
office?
X, and I
CARE,
love
which
it,
is
buddy.
a front for the Muslim Brotherhood.
I do
We've
need to
got
start
in
getting
both
more
these
active
people.
on there.
Now, understand the plan at play. This is not some conspiracy theory. This is how Islam has spread. This is how it's played out everywhere they've gotten a foothold, including all of Europe. The 1991 Muslim Brotherhood document titled Enablement of Islam in North America laid out this blueprint. Here's what they wrote. The movement Islam must plan and struggle to obtain the keys and the tools of this process and carry out this grand mission as a civilization jihad. The Ikhwan must understand that their work in America is a kind of grand jihad in eliminating and destroying the Western civilization from within and sabotaging its miserable house so that it is eliminated and God's religion is made victorious all over other religions. How this is allowed to be a political organization, how it is allowed to have any type of political sway, I will never understand.
Yes, they just, in their own words, say, we want the destruction of Western civilization.
Absolutely.
This is 1991. What is it, 1994 that you had the bombing of the World Trade Center? And then, obviously, in 2001, you had the Twin Towers
really bombed it.
taken down. It's not like this is the only strategy, but this is the strategy that is the oldest.
Well, then you look at, okay, do we see something that might reflect this strategy? Well, let's look at New York City. The Islamic population in 1990 was about 340,000. But that was a state, I guess I should say. We don't really have specific city data.
Right.
Today, almost 1,945,000.
That's crazy.
Boy, that's a change.
10 years before that, so I did 1970. I think it was around roughly 60 to 70,000. Just keeps exploding.
You
so
can
not only the go ahead.
Scientifically, you can do this. You can go another 20 years down the road, 30 years down the road, and you can see it'll be 2 million, 3 million.
Well, and it'll accelerate. It's
birth rate
exponential because of the birth rates.
If they kept the same rate,
Real quick, have you seen that Elon Musk wants to name the regulatory authority over AI, the AI Associated Institute of America, Inc. AI.
Bureaucracy, bye-bye.
You can't make this shit up. I will say Elon Musk is simultaneously the best and worst at naming things.
Yeah.
Exponential.
And if there aren't enough attractive Muslims here stateside, they'll just, they're sisters, cousins, just as good. As recently
Look, if you want to date him, just lay a plate of bananas and rice out.
2007, there were 0 Muslims in Congress.
Oh my God.
Next year, there may be 8, if you look at all the other races up for grab, being pushed by organizations, and by the way, other fronts similar to CARE. Anytime you see an Islamic nonprofit, just do a little digging and you will find ties to, if not direct terrorism, groups that support radicalism. As a matter of, an exception to the rule doesn't exist. Historically, it's always been the case, 100% of the time. To be clear, some things are out of your control. All people will be able to get to the housing bill.
Oh yeah, Doge, absolutely legendary. They got rid of USAID.
They're bedfellows.
Or
Communists.
USAID, right?
And I'm using that term, let's say Marxists. Because Marxists, really the only difference is pretty much a beard. Also,
and I say they should be, in fact, bedfellows, which is why I'm proposing that trans women should date migrants exclusively and vice versa. If either side refuses, then they're phobic of each other, and eventually both will just kind of work themselves out, if you know what I'm saying. Because we all know most of these migrants' viewpoints of trans people, and we all know how aggressive trans people get if they aren't found instantly attractive by people who they seek out. They're a lot like there's a movie called Disturbing Behavior, and that came out in 99, 2000. Had Katie Holmes in it, and then the guy that played Cyclops was in it. But in the preview, all these kids were basically possessed. It was like a really bad way to say hormones, basically. But there's one guy who goes, "Will you go out with me?" And the girl goes, "No." And he goes, "Why not?" That's basically trans people getting rejected. because they're not really the gender that they propose to be. But yeah, anyway, continuing.
It's more cultural.
Some
It's more of
shapeshifter
a
Doge was legendary. I
view
have
the world
a friend
entirely.
that his mother worked for a
I
USA
guess you'd say
ID.
it
Oh
large
yeah?
as opposed to just the political system.
How did that go?
These people, some of these candidates we're about to get into, they're open socialists, but they say that they're actually Marxists. So I don't even want to give them the benefit of referring to them as socialists. Here's the thing, too. When it comes to communism, because it's becoming more mainstream now, people are saying, you know what, maybe it's something that we need, especially in the era of AI. So I see a lot of people extolling the virtues of communism. Because capitalism, in their view, free enterprise.
Oh, exactly. Because of the penis and sense of security. I'm sorry.
Has failed. Here's what I would like to go through. Here's what I would propose to if you're discussing with a communist. Let's find some common ground.
I've got a buddy. He's a 5 foot tall trans dude. Great guy. Love him to death. And he's conservative, mostly. He's around the same line as me. He's got some things he's more conservative about. He's got a couple things he's a little too liberal about. But really good dude. And he's like, I saw very clearly that this was a trans person. He's like, how'd you know? I said, well, you're 5 foot fucking tall and you're not, Cat Williams.
Can we all agree on the premise, at least capitalism is not flawless. No system is perfect.
Right.
And in many instances, capitalism has failed certain segments of the population because greed, unfortunately, is a part of human nature, invariably. Can we agree on that premise, right? If you say, I say capitalism, but greed, unfortunately, is going to be a component. That's why a lot of these systems have failed. Every communist will have to grant yes. Okay. Question 2. If greed will always be among us, where does it go under communism? It's an entirely self-defeating premise. We need to defeat greed, which we know will always be among us. That's what happens in capitalism. You see things shake out. So let's centralize all the power. In capitalism, greedy people, corrupt people, they might be attracted to a seat on a board.
Real quick, this is verifiably stupid. Mao Zedong, yes, absolutely. Genghis Khan, yeah, and considering the timeline, probably worse. Adolf Hitler being above Stalin, a bit laughable. Elon Musk being number 4. What are you doing? And I keep seeing this because of the Doge cuts and such, that Elon Musk is responsible for the death of 14 million people. This is verifiably stupid. and also, this person, all these other people, purposefully made all these deaths occur. We'll just say. Genghis Khan killed many of them by his own hands. Putting Elon Musk in the middle of this based on feelings and projected deaths is verifiably stupid. And if you're putting stuff like that out in a serious tone, then you shouldn't even be on the internet at all. You should be at home somewhere coloring because you are a retard. Her official work was to give food to Palestinians with low income, but she said it was often given to Hamas and other groups. No, see, exactly. That's why? Probably due to threat of their own lives.
At a corporation, they might abuse it, but at least there's some kind of competition. Right? Greedy, corrupt people are going to be attracted to power. Oh, what happens when you centralize that power? It's going to be attracted to that centralized power. If greed will always be among us, why do we act as though it's only a flaw in capitalism? And where does greed, where does corruption go under communism?
And again, this is my biggest look. You can love communism, you can hate communism, but if you already don't trust the fucking system now, why would you give the people in power more power? Because that's all communist is giving the government system, the corrupt, as you say, government system that we already have, and it is corrupt, but not as corrupt as communism, will give them the ability to get. Because right now we have checks and balances keeping us safe. And all these communist brats, most of them from third world hellholes, and the other ones who are suburbanites and hill dwellers who are living off mommy and daddy's money, are are pushing communism in a system where it really doesn't need to be. America has the best system. Is it perfect? No. Does it need some fixing? Yeah. But for the most part, we're the bee's knees. Otherwise, why would so many fucking people want to come here?
It gets legal precedent.
Yeah.
And only retards leave.
Now, here's the answer. Look at the historical record of every single communist country ever. You centralize greed and corruption. There are no exceptions.
At least in capitalism, anybody can be greedy and corrupt.
Yeah, anybody can, and there are some limiting forces.
Well, greed is
self-correction.
good in capitalism.
Greed, you can only serve your own greed if...
Speaking of greed, this guy's sitting down here like, I'm the fountain now. Look at me. Do you not see water? I am your fountain. Pay me money and I will get out the fountain. Anyway, sorry.
To some degree, you serve others. Yeah, you can lie. Yeah, you can trick. Yeah, you can cheat. That happens, and we have systems in place.
I appreciate it, but no, I don't want bots.
Is
Thank you,
the goal. That's the
kick
system of
spammer.
communism, is to lie and trick and steal. That brings us to yesterday. All three candidates endorsed by Mamdani won their primaries in New York.
We saw a very large Mamdani wave last night. We've talked about, will this race be viewed as a litmus test? And I was trying to be all nuanced going into primary night. There was no nuance. If you were a Democratic Socialist, you were a winner. If Mayor Mamdani was with you, you were a winner. That's what we saw last night. It was a dream night for the mayor. You rarely see wins like this, where it's basically a clean sweep for any Democratic Socialist of America candidate, and it was definitely a big win for any Mayor Mamdani candidate.
Yeah. So the people who won, Chevalier, who we just discussed earlier. Then you also have Claire Valdez, Brad Lander. And I see a lot of people out there saying, oh, man, this is really bad. You know, say goodbye to the moderate Democrat Party. This is a hard left turn. No, it's not a new turn. Look, the Democrat Party, and this is why I say I will not always vote Republican. The Republican Party cannot take my vote for granted. I am precluded from voting for the Democrat Party, though.
Ever.
In other words, that's a hard no. And then, okay, there are some Republicans I'll vote for, and some I won't if it's a bridge too far. There is no way I can, in clear conscience, vote for the Democrat Party. Why? Because they've always been made up of Marxists and immoral people. What do I mean by that? I mean Marxists, and I mean people voting exclusively in their own self-interest. Those people are always very easy to trick. Those people, well, what are you doing for me? It's Marxists who wage class warfare, and people going, I still want my Coca-Cola on Snap. Hands off my Medicaid. Section 8. Hey, forgive my student loans. I shouldn't have to pay rent. Those people are very easily won over by free shit. This isn't new. And I'm tired of people saying, oh, I didn't leave the Democrat Party, they left me. It's a cop-out. Just admit that you were wrong. Admit at one point in time you were following a party that carried the flag of Marxism, however they tried to veil it, and now you have a problem with it. But acting as though this is new, it's not. There are plenty of examples throughout history. I mean, you could go to communist, Marxist, socialist policies like FDR and Lyndon Johnson, but you could go to specific people too, like Ron Dellums, socialist mayor, Oakland. You can look at, there was a,
Is it just me, or does Tim Dillon look like Ron White was hate fucked by Gary Busey? He's starting to freak me out and look a little bit like a lesbian.
Eugene V. Debs, 1920 socialist who ran for president from prison. Norman Thomas ran for president 6 times in the Socialist Party ticket. Yep. Yeah. Then you have, not to mention people like Ed Asner, Robert De Niro, Harvey Milk.
Hey, look at that!
John
Not
Lennon and
not
Yoko, Bernie
Morgan
Sanders,
Freeman.
for crying out loud. Jane Fonda, all of the celebrities, Oliver Stone, they were outright endorsing socialism, communism, spending time with the Castros, saying, actually, you know what? You look at Vietnam, they actually have things right over here. Barack Obama, very sympathetic to socialist causes, spent time with convicted domestic terrorist Bill Ayers, smoked crack with him. AOC, by the way, even Helen Keller, and by that, I mean her handler, Ann Sullivan, because Helen Keller is not a thing.
No, don't you remember that thing she said about socialism? Okay.
Yeah, and
I thought you forgot.
That was turned into like a 19-page thesis at Harvard that just so happened to mirror what her handler believed as far as socialism. It's not a thing. I won't act like it is.
I don't know if that's true. Hold on. Now, I've got to look this up because hold on. Socialist beliefs consider the following points. Keller was an advocate for social justice and equality. What? How can you be any kind of activist when you can't see or hear the world around you? Man, I really feel literally with my hands that the world is sick and suffering and I need to help it.
Were you about to say something, Noodles?
No.
I was gonna do a Helen Keller, but you ate it up.
Yeah,
I was gonna do our boy from the Congo. We're gonna have that, like, turn it into a music career. Yeah.
Democratic socialism.
Yeah, that guy's for sure socialist.
Yeah.
He's got to be.
And here's the thing. You see it in New York. They can do it out in the open. This is always what is beneath the surface of the Democrat Party. So when people out there in the Marxist right say, there's no difference, but let's just accelerate the revolution, right? We're accelerationists. It's like every scene in the film where you have the henchmen or people go, you know what, it's fine. We're gonna serve this master, and then they end up being killed, like Scar in Lion King with the hyenas, Bane and that Australian actor. I gave you a small fortune. They will always discard you. The truth is, people get really scared when that's what it looks like. When you say, let's accelerate this because the Republican Party sucks and everything's the same. Look at New York. That's your country. That's who, they won't serve you. That's who you will serve. I get it. Both sides need to improve, for sure. But look at, they're just willing to do out in the open what the leftists in this country, the Democrat Party, want for every single one of you. And if New York happens across the country, guess what? You never get it back.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they said. Remember we had the undercover video of that guy who said basically like this, Mamdani is the test case. Right. They've got socialist candidates ready to go across the country. They weren't lying.
Right.
They do have them ready to go. By the way, Hassan Piker was at the party.
I know.
Did you see the video of him basically saying that like his price just went up?
Yeah.
I don't know if it meant money or if he said you have to be a socialist if you want any of this shine.
Meaning his endorsement.
His endorsement. You want him to come endorse you and campaign for you. You have to be a socialist. These people want to destroy this country. When did we say that's fine if people vote for their own destruction?
When a bunch of rich white kids decided that they hated their parents.
Oh. Well, let me present to you something where people go, oh my gosh, all these special interests and lobbyists. I get it. It's a problem. Understood. But they have to vie for the endorsement of a man who teared up, and I use that term loosely, man, Hassan Piker, at Mao's Little Red Book, and went and did the bidding of communist Cuban government. Who do you think these Democrat candidates are beholden to? Right. How do you think they appeal to those folks? We thought that new media would decentralize, release the strangleholds on a lot of the information. Truth is, in some cases, certainly for the left, it's just made them much more easily purchased as far as the influence. Yeah, that's where we are.
And Chris Murphy even responded to all of this. There was a Democrat who basically said, don't use our party, our funding, our people, and then tell us that you hate our party. And I think he was speaking to the socialists who won, maybe a couple in specific. And Chris Murphy basically just said, I don't know, man, the voters chose. Maybe that's what the party really wants. The guy that can just be bought. He's just going to go with whatever direction the wind is blowing on this. I don't know. Right. Socialism, the people that say they really want to undermine this country and destroy Western civilization, their words, not mine, maybe the voters have it right, and maybe that's what Democrats should do. That's the mentality. There are no principles that they go, I'm not going any further. This is my line in the sand. They don't have one.
This is the concept that came up with Lane. I think it was late last week, where the invasion is coming in, and all of these democratic socialists, they know they have other places to go if it doesn't work out here. We are that last bastion, that last gate that's holding up freedom and everything that we believe in this republic.
Yeah.
If it falls here, there is no place for us to go.
No.
So keep that in mind when you're voting.
When people talk about cultures, hey, how about that? How about one country? How about one country where freedom is a thing? How about one?
Oh, this one?
Where the First Amendment is a thing. How about one?
This one.
Where we're allowed to own guns?
Can it be this one? Because I want it to be this one because I'm here
how about
already.
That's our culture since its founding. Are we allowed to have that? Are we allowed? Hey, leftists, are we? No, because Marxism destroys anything that isn't Marxism. Oh, you're still here? And you're still watching this on YouTube?
Which is
You
100%
probably
true.
noticed something is missing by now. I'm not here. That's because the live daily show is now streaming.
I just launched the brand.
What the fuck is happening? Hold on. Okay.
The One
So we'll
Piece
get into
Studio Remake has a brand new trailer, but how does this new trailer compare to the original scenes? First up, we've got this very iconic scene of Goldie.
Already, I'm here for it. And look, if you haven't watched One Piece, I understand you wanting to wait for this remake because it's going to come out, and apparently it's going to come out at a pretty regular rate. But if you're like me and you couldn't wait for it, I started in March, and mind you, there's 1,200 episodes. I'm sitting in just about 900. I'm just now entering the longest freaking arc in the whole series. But the last two long arcs weren't that bad, except for the fight with Katakuri. But this show is amazing. If you need one thing to help get you into the series, watch the live action show first. 100%. Watch what they have, and then you can even start after they find Chopper. You'll find get to the chopper. No, but you'll find that, and then continue from there. With the anime, you will not be disappointed, minus a couple of the smaller arcs. But it's amazing. It's the best piece of literature, and I know it's anime, but I'm going through the manga as well. But it's really amazing. Great storytelling.
Lockdown, and almost immediately I was like, whoa, CGI background. The second I saw the CGI, I knew people were gonna complain about it, and surprise, surprise, many fans online are complaining about the CGI used in this trailer, saying it looks inferior to the 2D background in the original anime. It makes it feel like you're actually there witnessing what is going to happen. But the artwork on Roger looks pretty clean, much better over the original one.
And I will say, the first 6, 7, 8 seasons, the anime looks very much like late 90s, early 2000s anime, because it is. The animation's greatly improved on the anime since then. I hear it gets kind of crazy from where I'm at now to the end, which hasn't happened yet, but it will end eventually. But
incredibly
yeah,
cinematic. The scenes of all these pirate boats heading off to start the Great Pirate Era does look like a recreation of this opening sequence. While the CGI is used in this scene quite a bit, I still like how cinematic it looks. Although there was a certain charm to the 2D animated version.
As long as most of the CG is used for broad landscape shots like this, I'm kind of okay with it.
The original one. I much prefer the remake of these wide shots of Shanks' crew as they sail away. I love the smooth animation as Shanks passes on his straw hat to Monkey D. Luffy. And I do like how they animated Luffy crying as he was saying goodbye to Shanks, whereas in the original scene, it was a still frame with just tears animating. The Luffy remake crying scene is beautifully sentimental. The character designs of Shanks' crew look infinitely better than the original one. Better proportions, better shading and coloring. This scene of Luffy standing up does look a little CGI, but it's so well designed that I'm not too sure if it's CGI or really smooth 2D animation. Regardless, it's a pretty nice sequence. But I do like the dynamic perspective shown in the original anime.
And the main reason I think people should watch this one is because I hear they're going to do basically a Dragon Ball Z Kai kind of situation, to where they cut out a lot of the, well, basically all of the filler arcs and anything that's superfluous. Like a lot of times where people are just going, oh yeah, well, I've still got another round in me. Or, for like 6 episodes.
I love how they actually animated Alvida coming down to try and Control-Alt-Delete Kobe and Luffy, whereas the original one, it is just a sliding PNG. I love this animation sequence of Luffy and Kobe as they sail, and I love the redesigned boat that both Luffy and Kobe are on. It does look 3D, but I do like the aesthetic. Shell's Town looks so much better in the remake. The fight between Luffy and Captain Morgan has a much better action sequence in the remake. It does remind me of how some of the scouts dodged the Titans in the first 3 seasons of AOT, and while some people are praising Wit Studio for actually giving Usopp that melanin, the same cannot be said for Captain Morgan, as he does appear to look quite different compared to the original one. Zoro blocking all these navies attacks.
Who cares?
Is absolute cinema in the remake. The OG one looked pretty good for what it was, especially the perspective on his legs, but I much prefer the added special effects in the remake, and the shine and rim lighting, wonderful. And Zoro looks like an absolute demon in the remake with the shading over his eyes. It's the same looking shot of that one leaked mood board scene of Zoro that came out a couple of weeks
This one I could
ago,
go either
but
way.
man, the colors really pop in the remake. While I much prefer the animation of this sequence of Buggy, I do feel there was more grit and intensity to his face in the original one.
Yes.
Face does look awfully clean in the remake. Nami's new design looks absolutely amazing, but I noticed how they are using the modern Nami style when it comes to her eyes. I thought they were going to use the original design for her eyes like we saw in the original sketches from the One Piece Wit Studio remake promotional video, but regardless, she looks absolutely stunning in the remake. This scene of Sanji...
She really does, and I love all these characters. Sanji I like better in the live action, but he does get some really great character growth in the second half of the series.
With the plate on his head is
And a lot of
adapted
badass
his first
moments.
introduction in the manga version, but there was no scene to compare it to the original one. So looking at this trailer, it does feel like the One Piece anime Wit Studio remake is going to be more faithful with the manga's direction, as the manga does start off with the Control-Alt-Deletion of Goldie Roger and then Luffy's backstory, and then the actual show begins, compared to how the original Toei animation was structured. And finally, we have this sequence of Luffy punching the sea monster, also known as the Lord of the Coast. This Sea King does also appear in the opening theme song, as well as a future episode just before the end of the pre-time skip era for One Piece. But man, the consistency, the fluidity, the thick outlines, the color palette, everything about this sequence looks absolutely stunning in my opinion. The Sea King...
I'm pretty sure a lot of this is still a lot of these animators have been used on other series. I think a couple of them have worked on One Piece before, but a lot of them worked on some of the newer Dragon Ball Super movies. From my understanding, at
It's
least.
so fluid in the remake that for a second I thought it was 3D, but it does appear to be 2D animation for the Sea King. This one sequence does seem to be taking some inspiration from the original mood board scene that was revealed some time ago. And while the outlines are still quite thick in the remake animation sequence, I did notice how the thickness in the outlines were much thicker in the actual mood boards. It did resemble how thick the outlines were in the first season of Attack on Titan, but honestly, I don't really mind it at all, as they do need to animate these sequences.
Yeah, and that is their style of animation.
Could be quite time-consuming. But overall, this One Piece Wit Studio remake has an absolute polished look and feel to the art and animation. I absolutely love what I'm seeing, and I cannot wait for the actual episode to come out in February. However, while I am actually praising this episode, and while some fans are liking the way it looks, I have been seeing quite a lot of fans be quite negative towards this One Piece Wit Studio remake. Many fans are saying that the CGI does not look good. You have fans saying that it does not look as majestic as the original Toei versions. Just a lot of people complaining for the sake of complaining. At this point,
anyway, we'll watch a little bit of this and see what you guys think.
Fame.
Power.
The man who attained everything the world had to offer. Gold Roger, king of the pirates.
And this does look like, it doesn't look like the scene, the time you see the scene in the beginning. It looks like as you progress, you see this scene from different angles and reanimated. It looks more like the updated versions, which I'm 100% fine with.
Pirates. With his dying words, he drove countless souls into the vast sea.
I do like the way that Shanks looks later on in the series, more so than the beginning. But then again, 90s animation.
In search of the One Piece, many set sail toward the Grand Line, plunging this world into the Great Pirate Era.
This is a great show. Again, an amazing show. I love it. 10 out of 10. No notes, as always.
I guess James Gunn didn't know that SuperGirl...
Okay, so SuperGirl is apparently getting really bad reviews. For the most part, I go with a mixture of 3 or 4 critics. And if I see someone like the next critic we're going to get into on this very movie, hating against something that's being pushed by the people who have been in charge for the last 10, 12 years or so, pushing a lot of this quote-unquote woke garbage, then you know it's a bad movie. Like, there's no redeeming qualities in it. Whereas Jeremy Jahns is pretty down the middle. He doesn't get involved in a lot of this stuff. He watches movies, and he gives his honest feedback, and I respect that. Whereas Chris Stuckman used to be that way, but then he wanted to get his movie done by all those Hollywood types. So he's like, well, you can't make fun of movies. You can't do that thing that people watch me for in the first place, because he has the thing where he makes fun of the really, really bad movies, not unlike the best of the worst, but I can't remember what he calls them because he hasn't done them in so long since he started working on that mediocre horror flick that he made. But yeah,
It was going to be the
Shelby
next
Oaks.
movie after Superman, but it was, quote, an incredible script. Really? This was an incredible script?
It's a horrible poster.
SuperGirl is DC's follow-up to last year's Superman. Long story short, as we saw at the end of Superman, Kara likes to go out there to Red Sun solar system so she could get drunk. Then a forgettable...
And I'm okay with this story, but not as an introduction to Supergirl. Like, something needs to have happened. Like, you need your introduction, and then you need a secondary story. You can have something like Red Daughter of Krypton be like arc over a few other people's movies and end on her movie. And then this could have been a good, at least the premise for this could have been a good third movie where she's getting drunk trying to come to terms with the events that have happened in the previous movies. But no. And this is one of the few times that I will praise the version of Supergirl that we got in The Flash. She was much better as Supergirl in every single possible way. And she was not a good Supergirl.
Bad guy poisons her dog with a dart. That same forgettable bad guy killed a family in which the surviving girl of that family got a revenge quest to kill that super forgettable villain. The two of them are looking for the same person. This one for revenge. There
are good Supergirl stories, and there are good events with Supergirl in them. Injustice 2 was pretty good. The storyline that I talked about earlier, the Red Daughter of Krypton, was a pretty damn good story where Supergirl, who with a Red Lantern ring, fights a doomsday-infected Superman. It's a pretty fun story, I'm not going to lie.
One to get the antidote for her poisoned dog. They team up, they're on the adventure. That's the long story short. All right, out the gate, this movie does play up an angle that it's kind of a trope at this point. Put the cute dog in danger, and now the audience is along for the ride. As for the rest of the movie, not gonna lie to you, it's a pretty generic, boring sci-fi mess. There is something compelling.
And that's how you know someone is being truthful with this. That is the most common criticism I've seen about this. It's generic early sci-fi channel schlock. I think the actor of The Flash, Supergirl, is beautiful. No, she's hot. That's my kind of girl. Like, I very much like the haircuts that are associated with a lot of the modern day women who are the worst. That's what I find attractive, and I hate it because they've appropriated something that I find very attractive in them. Also, I may have... Yeah, anyway, sorry.
Even emotionally deep about the theme in here. Frustratingly, they don't stick the landing on it, but it's in here. As the conversation of Superman being basically comic book Jesus has been around for as long as I can remember, the story of the prodigal son here, or daughter, strictly speaking cousin, the prodigal out there running away, wasting their life, hopefully will then come back. It's deep, it's relevant, it's thematic, it's also buried under a ton of sci-fi nonsense, which I love sci-fi. I'm just saying when it feels uninspired. A big problem in the movie is I didn't find Kara to be particularly likable for a lot of it. She's the basic hot mess, crash out disaster that's posturing herself as the paragon of morality for the situation. To be fair, yeah, that tracks. And granted, that is her character arc in the movie, of course, but even by the
He's
end,
dated a girl like this, I'm sure.
If you don't stick the emotional landing at the end for an arc of someone stepping up to be the person they're supposed to be, to be a hero, the whole thing feels forced. You're just left feeling unfulfilled. What I like the best part of this Supergirl movie, Jason Momoa as Lobo.
As I would assume that this would be. Not the greatest around the eyes here, but he's been, God, him as Lobo has been the fan casting choice since people knew who the fuck he was in Game of Thrones.
Ironic that the best part of Supergirl is the main man? Sure. But here we are. I mean, Jason Momoa as Lobo is an absolute and total layup. Even back when he was cast as Aquaman. When I heard Jason Momoa was gonna play a DC comic book character, I was like, yeah, Lobo. That's who he's gonna be. He's gonna be Lobo. What can I say? What I got can't be taught. Or we all thought the same thing because it's that obvious.
Yes.
Why wasn't he Lobo all along? I'm 50-50
exactly
whether or not Jason Momoa.
Because he pretty much was Lobo when he was Aquaman, which is why people liked it so much, because they wanted to see him as Lobo.
Knew he was being filmed. An absolute and total wild card, which is fun to watch. But it does still feel like someone at some studio level was like, I feel like this movie's gonna be boring. Fans are really clamoring to have Jason Momoa come in as Lobo. Let's just make that happen. I am interested in seeing more of Jason Momoa's Lobo going forward. Maybe a standalone bounty hunter movie following Lobo. Be kind of like Mandalorian and Grogu, but minus the Grogu, and hopefully...
Or just have him do like a Stan Lee thing and pop up in everyone's movies on some kind of mission, doing something, maybe leading up to his own series. Or just the first one.
The movie doesn't feel like it has its own identity, to be honest with you. There's so many scenes, planets, moments where you could be like, what movie is this? And people could be like, DC Universe, DC EU, MCU, Guardians, Predator Badlands? I don't know. It kind of feels like they pulled from everything cool right now and put it in a blender. A big thing in this movie that bothered me has nothing to do with the characters. It's the lighting. I don't know if they want to have the talking point of, and we didn't use lighting kits. All the light is natural in this studio on a green screen. But there were scenes where lights were in the background and they were really bright, but the camera's in front of the characters and it didn't seem to have a light in front of the characters. So the characters were really dark, but the lights behind them were bright. Like, hi, I'm in SuperGirl. This probably looks horrible on screen, though. It's not just one scene, it's a multitude of scenes. Does someone set the camera on auto and the ISO's like, yeah, damn it, the light. Okay, the light's more manageable now. I don't know, I wasn't there, but the movie did look like muddy shit. Kara seems to forget her powers a lot of the time. She's looking for the bad guy. She lost him. Apparently she forgot she could look through walls. There's one scene in this movie. It's completely...
Oh my god, I forgot I could do that.
ridiculous. I guess it's in the comic books, but it's one of those moments where when you're adapting something from a comic book, you
And
have
it's
to make
stupid.
that judgment call of, is that going to play well in the movie? I get it, we're dealing with super-powered aliens, but there has to be a line. And even if you can make the leap and go, okay, I accept it, it's fine. It still does come across as a convenience in the name of dealing with a Kryptonian lead in a movie. And that's a problem with Superman movies, now SuperGirl movies. They are so overpowered, you have to continually think of villains to put them up against that can take them on, or you just gotta continually nerf them. This movie continually nerfs to a comedic degree. Oh, I almost forgot to talk about the villain. Why would I not forget to talk about the villain? Why would I remember to talk about the villain? The villain in this movie is the most forgettable, generic antagonist I've... Hold on. In terms of cinematic universe comic book villains, we'll say from Iron Man 1 on. Because Iron Man 1 kind of changed the game, and now everyone's chasing that cinematic universe dragon.
Look, while he goes on this, let's just go down all these reviews. These are the top reviews that popped up. Just all you need to know is the original, like right here.
Such as, and
My God,
and when he
like
looks
look
surprised,
at the
it looks like he's doing
disappointment
a
on
bad
all their
Robert
faces.
De Niro impersonation. Yeah, he was awful. This movie has all
Even
the
them.
things on paper to get the audience behind hating the villain, which, I mean, he isn't likable. He's just not memorable. He's a shitty human who kidnaps girls to make them wives, like a Morton Joe. He hurts the dog, which is kind of becoming played out now, but there's that. Right, but it doesn't feel inspired. It feels like AI was like,
these are cliches, but in all probability will get the audience to hate the villain, though they still won't remember him for shit.
this dude is so interchangeable from the rest of his goons. Sometimes I was like, okay,
Is that
the
him
guy
or
or
his
is that one of
goon?
the guy's guys? I don't know. They kind of look like Mad Max ripoffs, which I didn't see for the longest time. I mean, granted, they do look like they worship Slanesh to some degree, but it wasn't until they were hauling ass in their motorcycles and their fast tanks, kicking up dust behind them, I was like, oh, that's Mad Max for sure. We've recently been blessed with some imaginative, inspired, creative cinema from some real up-and-comers. SuperGirl, on the other hand, is big studio schlock that feels more AI than soul. So that's it. Boiled down, SuperGirl's a generic sci-fi buddy fetch quest with bad lighting. Look at the end. I didn't hate the whole movie. Lobo was pretty fun. Jason Momoa as Lobo is the only thing that raises this movie up to being the kind of movie I'm not going to remember in T-1 day. Yep, already forgot. This was the incredible script that was apparently by implication better
Which, by the way, is worse than Better Time When You're Drunk.
than the rest. This was pretty rough. I'm pulling for lanterns though. All right, so SuperGirl, have you seen it?
I want to, but I
What
can't.
is the worst comic book villain of the past 20 years? I mean, if you do all the time, you're going to go back to some really cheesy villains from back in the day.
The original
Early 20s,
SuperGirl movie.
Whoever it is, whatever you think, comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see...
So this is someone who's usually pretty fair and impartial, and being as nice as he can be. Let's see someone who's not normally fair. Someone who normally is like, come on, guys. Come on. Let the girls have something. We want you to have something. We just want it to be good so we can enjoy it too. That's all. That's all.
No offense to Kara Zor-El.
By the way, this hurts me. This person's face and voice hurt me to no end, so enjoy.
Like,
Hurting.
do your thing, girl. But I think Clark should ask for the suit back. Seriously, watching this movie, I was like, Clark, go get that suit back. Don't let her wear it. You know, so why
This person has nearly 1 million subscribers. And how many views we have on this? 127,000 views. But I will say, based on Grace Randolph here, no respect for Clark. Kara versus Clark. Gunn, is he a comic book fan? Totally butchered the comic. Simply not Supergirl. Crypto and bad CGI. Feminist manifesto. Yo, if Grace Randolph is making these points, it's got to be pretty bad.
say such a thing? Well, more than ever, the 2025 movie, and now this one, established that Superman is someone who not only wants to do good, but wants to be a living example of the good we all can do. and that being good is a choice. And this is something that James Gunn underlined with his movie by changing the Superman mythology. The Jor-El wanted his son to conquer Earth, which they double down on here. Not as much as I would like them to. That would have been more interesting. And yet, even when he found that out, Clark still chose to do good. By the way, the good news is that David Corenswet is still excellent as Superman. And
I will say I do like him as Superman. I wish the writing was better. I wish the story was better, of course. She's not great. She is so teensy. And she's not a great actress. Like, she's cute, I guess. I thought she was a better whoever Targaryen than the big-nosed bitch that they got to replace her on House of the Dragon. I don't know why she's not on that show anymore. She's literally like 4 years younger than the person who plays her adult self. But yeah, like this is not good.
I love his movie, and I'm still excited for his sequel. I don't know what this garbage.
I'm interested. I'm not excited.
I'm going to ignore. And the most interesting elements of this film, to me, allow us to see Krypton as it really was, fleshing out Clark's story into the parts that he couldn't possibly know because he was just a baby. And instead, we get the perspective of someone who was actually there. Well, we could have. And even the little bit that we do get, I find fascinating.
And that's one of the things I like the concept of the character of Supergirl, because two things about her. One, she was actually there. She was actually his older cousin. And in a lot of stories, she was sent to take care of him. And in some other stories, she was just also sent. Or she escaped from Brainiac, who took her to the city that she was from. One of 1,000 stories. But through whichever reason, whether she circled around the sun a whole bunch, which kept her young for some reason, and also superpowered her to an extent to where she's technically more powerful than Superman, which I think is a bit of a feminist kick. But at the same time, I'm like, whatever, story-wise, I'm listening. This could be interesting. It was in one story. The Red Daughter of Krypton. Like I said, I found it interesting. Most people, I don't know. But this is not a good Supergirl. And this is not a good Supergirl story. It should have been someone just a little bigger. Someone like the other Supergirl, even though she's also very skinny and frail. But the way that they shot her and the way that she carried herself was very super person-esque. This person, not so much. Very tiny. Protecting you up to your waist.
Clark might technically be from Krypton, but when you see him here in this movie, he is 1,000% a child of Earth. He's like those Europeans who come here for the World Cup and are like, we love it here. He's like, yeah, it's that vibe. You know, very much, he is a child of the Kents. He is Clark Kent. In this review, I'm not going to call him Kal-El at all, because I don't think he sees himself at all as Kal-El, which is very interesting. So when he gives Kara her own version of his suit, her lack of respect for what he's trying to embody is staggering. And it makes her really unlikable because he's so likable. You're like, why you gotta disrespect him like that? Just do your own thing. Don't do it in his name, though. You might think, but wait a minute.
Man, getting a lot of spam on Kick today.
Doesn't she have as much a right to it as he does? Well, in this film, at least, you don't ever see her family. At least it didn't register.
No.
Yeah, I don't believe you ever see Kara's family with this crest. So it feels very much like it belongs to Clark. And he's so generous to share it with her. Where was Lois to say no to it? Lois should have been like, I understand where you're coming from. I know she's a relative.
By the way, I would say the best on-screen Lois. Hands down. Not a lot to go off of there, but I like her better than all the other ones, even Amy Adams.
Don't give her the symbol. Kara might have his powers, but she has no interest or respect for his mission. No spoilers. This is a non-spoiler review. But watching this movie, I did think to myself, because, you know, there's a storyline where she, in the comics, is brainwashed by Darkseid. But I don't think she would need any brainwashing here. I'd be like, I think maybe she would just go over there on her own. And
I like her better like
Supergirl
this.
Movie would have explored this. And
Yes.
truly made it the core of the film instead of just something that hovers just out of reach in the distance and is one of many things that never really clicks. Now, you might be
And I will say, have you ever noticed how even the woke film critics, when they are speaking honestly and bashing movies that they would otherwise love, when they're being honest, they're actually quite perceptive. They know that the movies that they're trying to push suck ass most of the time. But it's not about how good the movie is. It's about the message. No one cares about the fucking message if your movie sucks. Okay? So, film, world building, screenplay, whatever. And then if you can filter your message in, like they did in the 90s, and people learn how to be better people while watching something, while they're engaged in this world and these people that you've introduced them to, then you can get them to maybe be open to what you're trying to put on them. But given as how extreme everyone is these days, it's not enough.
thinking, hey, wait a minute. This sounds absolutely nothing like the comic
By the-
this is supposed to be based on.
Also, by the way, this story's only like 3 years old. Woman of Tomorrow, and it's not great. It's okay, but it's not great.
You'd be right. So the whole pitch for James Gunn taking over DC, why this was supposed to be such a great thing for the franchise, was that he was a comic book fan, like us. And so he would give it the care and the respect that it deserved. And it was a good sign, we thought, when he plucked this comic out of the lineup and said, we're going to adapt this.
It wasn't.
It's like, it's one of my favorite comics. I love it so much. I'm going to make Tom King an architect of my DC, in fact. I'm so all in.
Which is super dumb. Tom King is a horrible writer.
So then why did he basically chuck
I think,
such
at least.
exceptional source material in the trash? I mean, we knew they couldn't afford the visuals, right? When we saw the trailers, we already knew they weren't going to be able to do that. But then why would you butcher the story? Why not just tell a totally original
butchered
Supergirl
itself.
story? I mean, we just outlined one about how, you know, she is from Krypton, Clark's from Earth. Let's talk about the contrast there, right? Why not tell a story about a totally different DC character, right? Because as a comic book reader, this does not seem at all like Kara Zor-El. No matter how good Millie Alcock might be in the role, she is simply not playing Supergirl, highlighted by the fact that the character here is interchangeable with Star-Lord, Furiosa, and Captain Marvel, depending where in the movie you are. I would say the first act is Captain Marvel.
And from what I've heard, again, from everyone I've talked to who's seen the movies and from all the reviews that I've kind of browsed through, she's a worse version of all of them.
Marvel, the second act is Star-Lord, and then the third act is Furiosa, young Furiosa. Although they take the silent scream. I can't believe that they just copy and paste things from, like, really iconic things from iconic films. Well, not Captain Marvel, but you know.
That is what most millennial writing is. Most. I say that as someone on the front end of millennialship.
All right, so early on, I knew we had a problem with this movie when Kara decides to urinate with the door open and then pass out on the toilet, all of which we see. But you know what we don't see? We don't see her wash her hands. I'm just saying. I mean, again, there are certainly...
She stared at them
unpleasant
really
characters
hard
who
and
do
burned
such a
away the
thing,
pee.
But it's just not something that someone from the Super family would do. And I'm sure there'll be somebody who says, well, it's about time they did. I think it makes her more interesting. It's not Supergirl. Go adapt something else. It's a different character. Clark is a saint for not giving up on someone who makes no effort. And not just on herself, but in any part of her life, including Crypto, who isn't... It's not that he's an energetic dog, but he's a dog whose owner refuses to train him, which it's a real disservice not only to everyone else, but to Crypto, because it puts him in danger. I'm not a pet owner. I owned a goldfish, but isn't it irresponsible not to train your pet? I mean, he just makes him a burden on everyone, and therefore, like, no one's happy to see Crypto in this movie because.
Well, and from what I got during the Superman movie, she treats her animal as more of an accessory than anything else. Kind of like Paris Hilton.
He just really is. He's just out of control. Now, I wasn't worried about him really ever because he doesn't look like a real dog. Crypto has never looked more like a CGI creation than he does here.
Yeah, let's jump ahead to.
Not every movie and show about a female character needs to also double as a feminist manifesto.
Yes.
I mean, can't Supergirl just save the day? I mean, I'm fine with messaging, and I'm okay with movies. I think Barbie balanced things very nicely. But
It did not.
Again, this is a non-spoiler review, but just to give you a little bit of an example, they shoehorned a subplot in here about trafficking underage girls that not only is not from the original comic, but that it's lifted directly out of Mad Max.
And also, most leftists are okay with, as long as we don't arrest any illegal aliens.
Like, directly. Like, how did you think you could do that? And it doesn't do the movie any favors. It just makes it too heavy-handed, too eye-roll. Like, and also it reminded me a little bit of Black Widow to a degree as well. You know, I'm going to mention it later, but Millie Alcock was like, I didn't watch any female superhero movies to prepare for this. And you're like, maybe if you had, you would have noticed you were copying quite a few of them. And then somehow...
Based. Very based for Grace. I don't get to say that ever, so based.
Laura can somehow take on male opponents triple her size or more through force. I would understand it if she could do it through wits or skill, but the fact that she's still supposed to be able to overpower these individuals just makes absolutely no sense. Forget winning the fight. Like, in her first big fight in the bar, I thought she'd be dead, but she won. As for when she finally does power up...
Because she's not actually depowered. Not actually. Because if she was, crushed in an instant.
Which takes too long. Well, to fully power.
By the way, the reason that she goes to red sun planets is because apparently Kryptonians can't get drunk under a yellow sun, which sucks for them, I understand, but that's it.
And the first time that she does, it's like a scene, again, directly lifted out of, this time, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I'm like, you did that exact scene. You did that. It's not like, oh, it's an homage or it's similar. It's the exact same scene. But she never truly levels up. You know, a yellow sun-powered Kryptonian has God-level strength and powers. That's why they rule the galaxy, and everyone looks to them. And this...
They never ruled the galaxy.
Movie desperately needed at least one sequence, preferably two, where Carl levels up to that degree. This one shot from the trailer made me...
Look at this. This is very much, I said I want to do what I said I want to do now, Daddy or Mommy.
Feel that they would, but this is the one and only shot where she seems as powerful as she should be. There was one cool shot when she flew up through a ceiling to a second floor, but it wasn't as cool as it could have been. I was like, oh, you could have done maybe something there. You almost had, you know, it was the reverse of that great Spider-Man shot when Green Goblin...
Let's see if we can get some hypocritical here.
Kara seems pretty ungrateful when it comes to these powers. You know, she's like, I don't like my life. And you're like, you know, then stop using these powers if you don't appreciate them. Stop wearing that suit. Stop using these powers. I guess the movie's supposed to be about her learning to appreciate it, but I didn't really feel that came across. I mean,
I hate her voice. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to put you all through this. I hate her voice, but it's important.
But I
for me.
Feel it. And then also, I think she's a bit of a hypocrite. Like, she's like, she hates Earth so much. She's like, I don't want to be here. But then why is she wearing a Blondie t-shirt, right? And rattles off tons of Earth pop culture jokes. I'm like, watching a lot of SpongeBob, are you? If she's still pining for Krypton, which I would understand, I totally get that. But then shouldn't she be trying to recreate Krypton on Earth? Shouldn't she be wearing Kryptonian clothing and just unwilling to divest herself from that world? Like, she should be like the opposite of Clark, who's like totally reflecting Earth.
Yeah, I'm totally a human.
Also, why does she wear 80s style headphones? You know, it's supposed to some degree to block out sound, and I'm like, why don't you wear noise canceling headphones?
Bing.
They actually have headphones that will do that. Those little foam headphones aren't going to do diddly squat, Cara. And is that an iPod Shuffle? I mean, the only reason I think these things are here is because of the James Gunn influence.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's talk about how derivative this movie is. Now, we all knew it had striking similarities to Guardians of the Galaxy from the trailers, and I think some of us could sense it would be a little bit like the Marvels. But then with early
Shitty? Because it was.
reactions, like from the junket and with influencers, we started to see some Mad Max references, and I thought that was like in a good way. Not that it was directly copying
Because
and pasting.
fantastic movie, pretty good movie.
SuperGirl isn't an homage to these movies, as I said, but at points it feels like you're actually watching watered-down versions of them. Like if Supergirl was running Billy Crystal through these movies, it would feel like this. You know, the way he used to do, and Conan did an homage to that at the beginning of the Oscars this previous year. It's such a copy that I'm shocked that when they were making this movie, nobody raised their hand and said, you know, guys, we can't just blatantly copy these other movies.
Oh, sure you
I
can.
feel Kevin Feige and George Miller at least should be offended, and at most should consider a lawsuit at how much these movies copy their previously produced films. I guess James Gunn created Guardians of the Galaxy, well, the movies at least, right? But it was as a work for hire. And I would be shocked if that gave him the right to recreate those movies down to the point where you feel like you're watching them for another studio. There's a space, you might be like, how similar could it be? Well, there's a space pirate sequence that feels like you're watching a Guardians of the Galaxy movie, and for some reason Star-Lord's now a girl. They do the same gags, the same look, the same costume.
Wouldn't be
department.
surprised.
It's nuts.
Okay, we'll do one last little thing.
Movie, and to be fair, if he did, I think it would be better.
Writing we know sucks.
Funnier, with better action, and I think
Krypton teases. Let's talk about Millie
She
Alcock
might have
herself.
taken this picture, but clearly Millie Alcock is not a comic book fan. I mean, the way this movie turned out, this comic could have been upside down. The picture would have made more sense.
Yes.
I mean, she also admitted, as I said,
Based-
not watching
based
any
grace.
comic book movies to prepare for this role. So that makes it complicated. In her defense, she's therefore just playing what's on the page. She doesn't know any better, but she should. Because she should have realized that she has a responsibility to the fans of an already established.
Great Supergirl. Never saw it. Never cared to see it. Pretty good. Pretty good. It had her moments. The crossovers were pretty good. I think pretty good. I wanted it to be good. Basically, what the personage, apologies for the stutter, of Supergirl was up until that point. Better than it should have been. 100%.
Character. I mean, she knew this wasn't a new character, although that's what it feels like, and it's not. The character is not accurate. And I say that as someone, by the way, who likes Elseworld stories. I'm fine with playing with characters and changing them a little bit, but to do so, you have to understand the core of the original character and either hold on to that or make the changes a commentary on the original core of the character. And there's no such thing here like that at all. However, Millie Alcock is a very talented actress and a very natural.
She was good in House of Dragons. I see no other evidence to this fact.
Actress, and she does such a good job playing this character. I don't know who this is. It's not Supergirl. But I think that, again, some people, as I said, who aren't familiar with the comic book version will spark to this performance and therefore defend it. Just like there are people who defend
I really think they really tried to uggify her. I will say, Birds of Prey, I will defend. After Harley Quinn gets hit in the face with a bag of cocaine, the movie improved drastically. The race swaps make no sense. I will say Mary Elizabeth Winstead was a good choice, even though the costuming people weren't great. Her, a good choice. What the fuck were you thinking? Okay, sure, made sense 10 years before this movie came out, maybe. What the fuck are we doing with any of the Smouye family? But after she got hit in the face with the cocaine bag, this movie improved dramatically, for me, at least. Other than that, hot, crappy dog shit. And then the way they killed the main protagonist, or antagonist, hilarious. Condescending, very feminist. But that being said, I thought it was hilarious. In the same way that I thought Trevor Slattery fake-out in Iron Man 3 was hilarious, but really, was it what we really needed in this situation?
Birds of Prey, and that just continues to create problems for DC and continually fractures the audience, where people have different versions that they like of the same character. And those different versions have some justification because they can come, you can point to movies and TV shows to say that they're valid. But, you know, it just does a disservice to the character and to the brand, and we just keep going around and around and around with this problem, particularly for DC.
Yes, we do.
Jason Momoa.
My man.
There was a time when he would have been a fabulous Lobo.
He is.
Clearly that time has passed. He missed his window, I'm sorry to say. And he looks here like he's dressed up for Halloween. Not even cosplay.
I agree. I agree.
Straight up Halloween costume. Also, well,
I agree. And how, I will say, as far as the costuming goes, how is it that people that go to Comic-Con do better than the movies? Specifically, I'm talking about Apocalypse from the X-Men franchise. What are we doing?
Momoa. I think he's very fun and charismatic. He's always up for a good time, and you can tell he has a good-naturedness to him. I like that. I would have loved this. I don't even know if he could have played Lobo off of David Corenswet, because they both seem too nice, you know? He seems a little bit more like David Corenswet's Superman than he does Lobo at this point. But in this movie, he's a distraction, because he doesn't feel like an organic part of the film. He's clearly just there to try and make guys more interested in the movie, right? There is like a little dangling keys, being like, "Oh, hey, look, guys, it's Lobo," and it's so obvious and trying so hard that it therefore doesn't work, and it just takes up time in the movie. As for Matthias Schoenhardt's villain, who is, by the way, as I said, I saw so much potential in the Krypton scenes, but also on that note, because I saw potential, but it wasn't realized potential, a missed opportunity to do more, to not only to flesh out Clark, but also there was real opportunity here to say.
But anyway, sorry, we're completely out of time, unfortunately. Oh! Guys, I know this was this wasn't as entertaining as I was hoping it was going to be, but Buzz Lightyear to the rescue. I don't know. I wanted to cover this, just a couple of the perspectives. What's his name? Jeremy Johns. One of the most base people on the internet. He's probably the fairest critic that's out there. You won't find anyone fairer. Everyone else is trying to sell something. Jeremy Johns, you don't get that feeling from him. You think that it's his honest take all the way through and through. Grace Randolph, I don't know how she's so fucking popular. At all. What she got? 936?
I guess James Gunn didn't know that
I am happy that he has more than twice as many subscribers and, 5 times as many views so far on this. So that's good. The world makes a little bit of sense. But that's going to be it for me today, guys. We will see you tomorrow. And until then, this is Alfie Animus for the Associated Guest, signing out. Have a good one. Don't go see Supergirl. All movies that are out right now suck, apparently. Save your money.